All right, guys, Daniel back again here on the Richardson Precision and Training YouTube channel. We've been doing a lot of shooting here lately for a lot of drills, so we're going to slow it down, okay? We're going to talk about the proper mechanics of a good trigger pull, okay? I teach this a little different in a lot of my classes, but most of the way that people are taught to shoot is with the pad of their finger, right? It's been the most commonly taught method to get a good trigger squeeze for years. But what if I told you that there was more than one way to skin a cat? Okay, that may not always be the best method. Now, let me explain. Okay, so all triggers from the factory have a little bit of side-to-side play in it. And you guys may not be able to see it, but I'm going to try to wiggle it just so you get the effect. It wiggles side to side, and it doesn't take much for me to do that. Now, some guns are going to have more wobble, some guns are going to have less, okay, but all guns are going to have that. That's just how they fit the trigger to the gun from the factory. So I have to take that away. And the way I take it away is, instead of pulling the trigger with a pad of my finger, I have to go a little bit deeper in, more to the crease. If you guys kind of see, I've got very minimal amount of space here when I'm on the crease of my finger, as opposed to on the pad. When I'm on the pad, it makes more of an L, okay? I don't want that L shape, because it doesn't minimize that side-to-side travel that's in the trigger. But if I come up a little tighter on the crease, it basically takes that side-to-side wobble out of the equation, trapping the trigger. It basically pins it to where it can only go to the rear and can only reset forward again. That's one of the main key factors in us getting a good trigger press, okay? So essentially, the difference between pad of the finger, okay? Our finger wants to dip down to the base of the trigger, especially if you have like a Glock or something that has like a trigger safety built into it. This one, not so much, because it's more curved, but it's still there, okay? Our nerve endings are more prevalent when we get to the tip of the finger, so there's increased sensitivity. So when there's increased sensitivity, what do we want to do? We want to have the bottom of our trigger try to touch the top of our finger, because it's telling us there's a sensation and we need to know what it is, okay? So the pros and cons with that are, pros are, yeah, I can feel my trigger. Cons are, it actually takes the gun, and if I do it too far on the tip of the finger, it wants to pull the gun down, okay? I'm not moving my wrist. I'm just simply going to the bottom part of the pad of my finger, okay? See that little bit of movement? That can be a humongous difference between you having a good shot and you slightly yanking one. But if you notice the direction that it pulls it down, it's going down, right? It's not going left or right. So all you shooters that are telling me my shots are a little low, or they're a little bit low left or low right, based on if you're right or left-handed, this could be part of the problem, okay? So if you've never thought about this or never tried to diagnose it, next time, before you start shooting, just look at what part of your finger's on the trigger. Is it your pad or is it your crease, okay? Now, the crease does take some getting used to when you do this, okay? Because, again, it defies all the methods that you've ever been taught. But if you do it correctly, I promise you're going to get a humongous payoff, okay? It'll look something like this, okay? So I'm on the crease, okay? Take up the slat, go to the wall. Now, when I say go to the crease, I'm basically talking about this first little joint on your finger. It sits on the back side of the trigger, and the pad just kind of wraps around it. Very, very minimal pad, okay? You guys can look. I've got a lot of finger on the trigger, okay? Take up the slat, go to the wall, and just simply finish your squeeze, all right? So by isolating the trigger, minimizing side-to-side play, and taking my time and not jerking the trigger, that's where accuracy comes from, okay? So hopefully this tip was helpful. Pad versus crease. Ultimately, it's going to be up to you. Play with both techniques. If you're a pad shooter and you can shoot really well with the pad, continue shooting with the pad, okay? But if you've never tried that crease method before, I think you'll be surprised with the results you get. Any of that left or right stuff, or just a little bit low or a little bit low and left if you're a righty, this takes that away, okay? But again, it's up to you. Try it, see what you like, what you don't like. There is no right or wrong answer. Guys, hopefully this tip was helpful. Stay tuned for more videos.